stay on target. She's more modest than Ms. Blaise, but peels more than Ms. Emma. She out-vamps Vampirella, but she's sweeter than Honey West. She put the mod in model, and the bangs in bang bang. Now the world can know the truth. Her classified adventures back in 1951 Hollywood have been declassified. Bettie Page, Bettie in Hollywood Volume 1. W. David Avallone. A. Colton Worley, Craig Cermak, Esau Figueroa, Bane Duncan Wade, Sarah Fletcher, Joseph Michael Linsner. C. Colton Worley, Brittany P. L. Taylor Esposito. Bettie Page owns a special place in this comic writer's heart. I grew up charmed by this gorgeous model. Bettie is someone that will go down in history as tragic but bold, brilliant but struggling and curious yet free. There's something about Bettie Page that you become attracted to. You hold that with you for a long time, mainly when you watch her do her thing and see her body of work. With Bettie Page, Bettie in Hollywood, we take a peek of the secrets Bettie hid in a secret diary filled. A diary filled with weird cults, conspiracy, spacecrafts and good old-fashioned detective work. David Avallone gives the utmost respect for who Bettie Page was and who she is within this comic. He also adds influences from his own life to tell a story that's wicked, enthralling and utterly hysterical. Be a dynamite with Bettie Page, Bettie in Hollywood. Avallone amps up Bettie's badassery tenfold. He creates a story for her that doesn't let anyone push her down or get the best of her. She's the queen of this planet. A wild, charming, mad, silly and a lot of hilarious that Avallone isn't afraid to put front and center to and lead her down many different ventures. With Bettie, Avallone give us this witty and entertaining narrative that comes at you in diary form that hits in all the right ways. Avallone isn't afraid to let Bettie speak her mind with her own words. It feels so much like Avallone was in the driver's seat, but allows Bettie to take the wheel. Something incredible about this story is how batshit the narrative becomes. You can't help but turn the page and wonder if it's the same story you've been reading from the start. Bettie becomes involved with some secret government plans. However, she gets into crazy cult conspiracies, a movie with no budget where she plays an alien queen, a mystery that involves a new boss and so much more. You would think that none of this would fit in a story together, but this crime caper is a mix of everything someone has to love about the 1950s. It reminds me of blending an Ed Wood film with movies like Vampirella mixed The Manchurian Candidate. It has that very specific thriller feels with a mix of the absolute zany that come with B-movies. It's an insanely unpredictable mashup with Bettie Page at the center and makes for an even better storytelling experience from Avallone. Via Dynamite we're not only graced with one artist gracing this trade. We've been given 6 fantastic artists who put every bit of love in their pencils and inks. Interestingly enough, you can the distinct styles of each artist taking over the pages. That gives it even more of an impact that you're not expecting. For most of the comic, Colton Worley takes over the art. He brings a luscious and vintage style that fits well with her diary pages. Worley's art is much more laced in the crime caper of the story. It lends itself to those moments where darkness is just in the right place to allow more secrets to be hidden. As the narrative grows wackier, we are met with art from Craig Cermak, Esau Figueroa, Bane Duncan Wade, Sarah Fletcher. These artists carry their own distinct styles within and give the comic that madcap nature as the story progresses. Via Dynamite Colton Worley. Colton Worley, who also did the art, keeps us in that dark noir, hidden shadow realm. He knows how to work his shadows and light to bring us that cold, mysterious tone. Brittany P takes over afterward, presenting that mood Worley establishes but also brings us into the silly parts of the comics. She brightens things up a bit while still keeping that odd haunting feeling that something isn't right. Taylor Esposito is incredible at taking a script and allowing you to read it from the perspective of the character. He does this not only in his placements but his variation of lettering techniques. I've said it before about Esposito, but he brings a lot of feeling and mood into his lettering. This partnered with Avallone's script and the art of our fantastic bunch, Esposito is the last and final step to bring Bettie's words to life. The one thing I love, and you needed to pay attention to throughout the comic, is the diary entries of Bettie. Esposito places them wonderfully so they flow naturally to the eye from panel to panel, and you can also read them in her voice. Be a dynamite Bettie Page. Bettie in Hollywood isn't your typical crime novel, nor is it your typical pulp fiction. Bettie Page's legacy is honored in this book in more ways than one. It's a perfectly driven combination of the two that's sure to leave you in B-movie heaven. Bettie Page, Bettie in Hollywood is now available on Comixology and your local comic shop. May 23, 18 releases. In addition to Bettie Page, Bettie in Hollywood, here's a list of other new titles that came out this week that you should be reading. Kid Lobotomy Volume 1 by Peter Milligan, W. Tess Fowler, A. Lee Lowridge, C. Aditya Bidikar, L. Black Crown, IDW Legion. By Pablo Raimondi, Klaus Janson, W.A., Chris Chukri, Brian Rebirth, Hi-Fi Studio, Dean White, C. Timur Zahovsky, Clem Robbins, L. Image Comics Black Panther. 2 by Brian Lee O'Malley, W. Leslie Hung, A. Rachel Cohen, C. Mare Adomo, L. Image Comics. Let us know what you like about Geek by taking our survey.